The story of Boaz begins in the summer of 22. Me and my brother were hunting a few different deer and had a picture of this deer. We're hunting a buck we called Stubbs and another one we called the Big Six. Now we didn't really pay much attention to this deer. He wasn't very big, just had a few pictures of him, didn't really think much about it. Well, the summer of 23 rolls around, we're out shed hunting, and we actually come across this deer's match set from that year. Now he was nothing big, just a little 8-point, didn't really think much about him. So summer of 23, we still really didn't think much about this deer. Until about November, mid-November, we're sitting in our kitchen, and we look out my parents' bedroom window, and about 150 yards away in this ditch line, we can see this buck tending this doe. Now, it was a nice deer, we could tell, but we didn't really know of the deer, didn't have no pictures of him, no nothing. We didn't run any cameras behind our house, even though we hunted that piece. Well, it was not until a week later, we were getting ready to go to a basketball game around 4 o'clock, and we actually looked behind our field, and here the same buck came running across their field. Just midday. Didn't know why, didn't know if he got spooked out or what, but we had a basketball game to go to, we couldn't do nothing about it. Well, we continued, we set a camera out and actually ended up getting pictures of this deer a few times. Actually, my brother ended up having an encounter with him one evening. He had these does come out. Little did he know this buck was behind them does.
30 yards behind me, and as soon as I turned around, when I heard a noise, he took off running, and I knew it was a big deer.
We knew the deer was nice, didn't really know nothing about him, but we knew we also wanted to find his sheds. Well, after getting a few more pictures of him back here behind the house, February 12th rolls around, and I get a picture of this buck, and it's him holding his right side. Now, we knew that he had shed one side, so we set out looking for his sheds. It was the next day we actually ended up coming across his right side, which was the side that he was holding. We knew that he was nice, but we didn't really think he was honestly this big even.
We knew he had a lot of potential.
Yeah, knew he had a lot of potential for the next few years. It took a total of 4 months, finally. After looking for this deer's other side, I finally came across it. It was in a field that I wouldn't expect it to be in. The neighbors had cleared out this draw, and I was actually cruising my dirt bike down this edge. And about 30 yards off the road, I ended up finding his other side. So then that gave us a good idea of how the deer was running actually and what he was using it. Just a mid-140s 8-point, not a bad deer at all.
Our anticipations were high coming into the summer of 2024. Never really got pictures of him over the summer, and I had this camera out on a draw, and one evening, I think it was October 3rd.
Yeah.
October 3rd, I woke up, checked my phone because the cell camera went off, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was a giant 8-point. Sure enough, it was him, and we knew the game was on.
So we knew from previous years, off of kind of trail cam pictures and when this deer was behind our house, that he really liked coming behind our house for the food and for the does around that first week of November. So I had a camera set up on this main crossing that crosses this road, and sure enough, that first week in November, November 4th, I finally got my first picture of him chasing a doe. I knew from then it was on. I knew that he was going to be in that area and that I needed to hunt. Well, cameras kept showing pictures, he kept moving through this draw, and I could not get him the daylight. Well, November 17th comes around, and I'm actually hunting a different spot, and my brother's hunting behind the house. Well, I get out of my tree stand, come home. It was a drizzly morning, kind of wet, and I get a trail cam picture of this deer crossing. He had been scared out or something bumped, and he crossed the road, and we knew exactly where he was going to bed. So after getting a little game plan together, I actually had my dad slowly walk with the crossbow to the direction he was going. I set up from where he came from, and my brother was set up in another corner, knowing that this deer was going to run one direction. Well, unfortunately, he did come right to me, right where I thought he would be. And I wasn't even able to draw my bow back, I was shaking so bad. Didn't have my release on my bow. I was not ready at all. He came running by me at 10 yards, closest I've ever been to this big of a deer at the time. and he ends up slipping out of our hands once again. So then the very next day, my brother's actually coming home from hunting. It was around 9:30, and he crosses the road right in front of my brother, chasing a doe, and I knew exactly where he was going. So I went and jumped in my stand. I had this stand set up for a northwest wind for this exact scenario. Sure enough, I get in my stand and I can see him out here on this point chasing this doe around. And he sat there and chased this doe around for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. I sat in that stand 4 or 5 hours and he never moved. I knew that I probably wasn't going to get a chance at him because I had a basketball game that evening, so I went ahead and I slipped out of the stand quickly and quietly as I possibly could. Well then, after that, didn't really have too many more pictures of him until January 30th. We got a picture of this big shedded buck, and instantly I knew from where this location of this deer was living and where I got the picture that it was this deer. So then February 1st rolls around, me and my brother finally get an open day to go look for his sheds. Well, as luck would have it, we end up finding one of his sheds on that day. Just an absolute giant 8-point. We knew that this deer was big, and we wanted to find his other side. It took us another 6 months. I was out setting the camera for that summer, and actually was walking the creek, and I looked in the creek, and ended up coming across his other side, which was laying about only 100 yards from where this side was, but we had walked past it multiple times looking for this shed. We knew this deer was a giant this year. We didn't know he was this big. He ended up measuring out to 163 as an 8-point, which is absolutely crazy to me. So then going into the summer of 25, we were going to try killing this deer. We knew that where he lived, and I knew what I had to do. So sure enough, I went and I asked the landowner if I could hunt this deer. As luck would have it, I was able to get permission, and I set up a few cameras, and it took no time. And this deer showed up, and by golly, he was giant. He threw double splits, and he was just, this frame on him was giant. Velvet pictures of him was awesome. It was awesome. So after getting these velvet pictures of him, I knew exactly where he was living, or so I thought. Now this deer, after getting a few more pictures of him, he disappeared from where I thought he lived, and I could not get a single picture of him. Now in the back of my mind, I knew from years past that he liked this one draw that was overgrown that no other deer really went in, but for some reason I had a feeling, with it being surrounded by corn, that he was living in it. Well, me and my brother, first day of youth season, I had my brother walk this draw and try pushing him to me, thinking he was in there. Now, he didn't come out, but I got curious and went back to where my brother walked, and sure enough, his tracks were in there everywhere. So, after that, knowing he was in there somewhere, and maybe my brother just didn't bump him out of his bed, I decided that next morning, I was going to try going and do the same thing. So at this time, I was just going to walk it slow and see if I can get within 15, 20 yards of him out of his bed and shoot him. Well, sure enough, had the wind perfect, all in my favor, and go in there, and this ditch makes a Y, and I had a really good feeling that he was right where this Y was. Sure enough, I went in there, and I'm actually sitting on my phone. I'd been standing in this spot for 10 minutes. Not 10 minutes, 2 minutes. And I go to take one more step, and he jumps up out of his bed at 10 to 15 yards. Well, I instantly threw my gun up and fired 3 shots. Now, I thought I hit him. Well, after looking for blood and everything, I guess I ended up missing. Don't know what happened. Don't know if I shot over him, under him, or anything. I just know that he missed. Well, that evening, I had a good idea, though, where he went after I scared him. I'm like, I'm going to go hunt him with a bow and see if I can get him. Well, I circled around, went through my food plot and around this draw, thinking that he was bedded in like a separate draw and he was going to come right to me to cross this highway. Well, I'm sitting there at around 4 o'clock. I look up, and this deer gets up out of his bed, out of this draw, and starts walking right to me from the exact opposite direction I thought he was from. I ended up walking past this deer at 40 yards going to this stand, which is insane to me. But he starts making his way to me. I'm sitting there shaking. I'm thinking I'm going to get another chance. This deer makes it to about 100 yards, stops, goes into the tree line, and disappears, never to come by me. Until I realized at 4:56, 3 minutes before the end of legal shooting light, this deer circled around back down this draw, went to where he came from, and went right through my food plot. If I would have sat in my food plot that evening, I could have killed that deer. Now after that, I didn't get very many more pictures of him. It took a while. And then he finally started showing up again back to where I thought he originally lived. So then, it was November 14th. It was the weekend before shotgun season. I'm in my stand. It's a great evening. And I look out across this field at like 300 yards, and I can see this nice buck chasing these does. Well, this buck chases these does down to this draw, and they all disappear. Well, they end up popping back up out of this draw and start coming right to me. Little did I know it was actually a buck I called a 6x6 buck, which will be an absolute giant in a year or two, if he makes it. Now, it was just an awesome, awesome evening. With does everywhere, I just could not believe he wasn't there. Well, or so I thought. I look to my right, I only have about 30 minutes left, and here he stands chasing a doe out in the middle of the field. And this doe is on a V-line right to me. Now, they are slowly making their way. They weren't really running, weren't just taking their time eating, but he was following this doe. And that doe's coming right to me. I'm thinking this doe's going to walk right in front of my lane, 20 yards. I'm going to get a perfect shot. It's going to be the end of the story. Well, I didn't cut this one limb when I hung the stand because I wanted to cover. All this deer had to do is walk 10 yards to the left, and I would kill him. Instead, at 20 yards, he stopped behind this tree, and I could not get a shot. He ended up turning around and started chasing the doe back the other way. Now, I was able to get a decent little clip of him coming to me, chasing this doe, and then running off. I ended up watching that deer the rest of the evening, right behind me at like 80 yards, chasing this doe around. I was able to slip out of my stand and actually get out of there without him seeing me. So then the following shotgun season rolls around. First day of shotgun, I go in there. It's a drizzly, cold, wet morning. I had my scope caps on. It was around 8:30. I'm sitting there watching TikTok, not really thinking nothing about it. And I look up and look to my right, and here he comes running across the field. I was in complete panic mode. Instantly, I threw my phone down, grabbed my gun, went to throw my gun over. My gun barrel got caught on a branch. Finally got it through the branch, rested it, went to aim, realized my scope caps were still on, hurried up, took my scope caps off, finally got settled in, stopped the deer right in my lane at about 150 yards, and when I stopped him, he quartered to me. And I shot. And instantly, I knew I missed. Now, not knowing this later on, this gun was, I guess, hitting off about an inch at 50 yards. So knowing that, at 150, that means it would have shot off more to the right. Well, that deer spun around and took off running back out. I shot at him again, missed him, and then he stopped at like 200 yards. Now, I was shooting with a .220 Savage, so I knew that this shot was possible with this gun. I was comfortable, at the same time not comfortable, but I went ahead and I took the shot at like 200. I put it above his back, and when I shot, I watched him, and he belched. He didn't jump, he didn't kick, he belched. So I thought I hit him. Well, I go up there, there's no blood, I found his track, no hair, no nothing. I was so disappointed, knowing that that was my opportunity and I possibly blew it. Now after this, my neighbors, me, no one had any pictures, any sightings of this deer. This deer had vanished. Well, I started getting second thoughts, my brother started getting second thoughts, we all did. So then, we decided, what was it, January 30th? December 30th, we decided we're going to go in. I had to go change truck camera batteries, and we went in this draw, and I told my brother, let's walk right to where I think he was bedded or where he lived. And sure enough, this is where the video will pick off.
Well guys, it's December 30th right now, and me and my brother are out here moving the camera to another spot. We're walking down this draw, and back in November, my brother shot this big deer he's been after for 4 years. We have 3 sets of match sets off of it, and he's giant this year. And my brother shot at him with a slug gun back during shotgun season at about 230 yards or so.
On third shot.
On the third shot, he thought he hit it, so we kind of waited, and we walked around. We couldn't find him.
Deer never showed back up on camera.
He was gone for a month or so, and we were like, something's not right. But he had done this last year and showed up on New Year's Eve. So we just figured he was using the same pattern. And we're walking down this draw to put up this camera, and we just stumbled upon him. So let's go check him out. Well, we're gonna call the game warden, get a salvage tag for it. We are gonna head back to the house and regroup, wait for the game warden to get here, and we'll pick it back up later. Well, we're back out here. The game warden wanted us to take a picture of where it's laying and then just bring it back to our house, and he'll issue us a salvage tag there. So we're gonna take a look at him because he's right here. What a deer.
Well, here he is, guys. Not exactly the ending I wanted on this deer. This is the buck I called Boaz. I guess this would be the 4th year of history with this deer. You can see he had his 3.5 set. Found both of them right over here, and then his 4.5 set, and then his 5.5, and then he blew into this absolute mega at 6.5. It's a shame to find him like this. Last year I had an opportunity to shoot at him, just couldn't capitalize on it. And then this year, during youth season, I had him 15 yards, jumped him out of his bed, was not able to capitalize, missed 3 different shots at him. And then first day of shotgun season, he came running out. I wasn't really prepared and shot at him at like 150 yards. Don't really know if I hit him or not there. He turned around, took off running. I launched 2 more at him, and I think on the 3rd shot I was able to connect, but when I went and looked for blood, there was no blood. Was not able to find any blood, so I figured that I didn't hit the deer. Well, he had disappeared since then, and I'm pretty sure I had hit him somewhere at the gut, liver, or something. He went in bed and he died right there. It's only about 100 yards from where I shot him. Great story on this deer. I mean, I wish it could have ended differently. The week before shotgun season, I had him at 20 yards and couldn't get a shot at him. Had too many sticks in my way with the bow. I wish I could have killed him with the bow, but great story, sad ending. I guess I'll move on, and I think we're gonna rather get a European mount, or even we'll even get a cape for him and put him on a shoulder mount. It'll be great. So horrible way to end, but it is what it is.